Okay, folks, so we're going to talk about Royce the 5'9" and his debut album, Rock City. So with this project, Royce the 5'9", I know a lot of people are going to say, well, isn't that... And it's right, he is. He's affiliated with Eminem, but he had a career of his own prior to Bad Meets Evil. And so he dropped about 4 albums, but I think he's actually dropped an album in 2016, but I reviewed Death Is Certain, which was his second album, and now I'm going to review his first one. So this one came out in 2002, and he had been working on it since about 1999 or so. And the first thing you need to know about this project, are you looking into seeing what it's about, is it's not blockbuster in terms of notoriety. So that's kind of the thing, is it's more of a hidden project. I'm not sure too many people are going to know about this album firsthand. It just does not have the widespread appeal of something like the Marshall Mathers LP or Country Grammar by Nelly. So what that means is you do have to dig a little bit for it, but once you do, you'll probably wind up finding a few good songs. Now, to me, this is not a classic, but I was surprised by it just because of the style of rap that I've been listening to for a good while now. It actually fits right in rather well. Now, obviously, getting past the point, if, the first things first, if you are raised upon more commercial songs, if you haven't made the shift as far as, if it's not even close to something I'd hear on the radio or something I would hear, in like a satellite or something like that, probably this is not the best album. But once you get past that, it is some good music. So obviously the favorite part I had about this is just not expecting what to do. I mean, I don't really know Royce the 5'9" that well, so it's a little bit more interesting. He doesn't really fall prey to the same concepts that Eminem does, and he's kind of an unexplored character, and I feel like that's probably the case for a lot of folks here. Now, really, he is from Detroit, just like Slim Shady, so that makes for another type view, just knowing, okay, if this is someone from the same town, it's just interesting, someone who did not have the monolith success that Eminem did, and it's like, well, here you go. So that kind of shows some of Detroit's points of view. So with this production, there are some good ones on here. I felt like Mr. Baller is one, King of Kings is another real great one, and pretty much one of the best beats on here is Off Parole. Rock City is pretty good, that has Eminem on the chorus. These are just a few. There's 13 songs on here, so you're noticing you notice that I listed about 5 songs. There's probably about 6 good beats on here, but it just depends. We'll get to that. So the 5 songs that you need to hear are Off Parole, King of Kings, Take His Life, Let's Go, and Rock City. Now, all of these are especially well put together. Take His Life is really good. That one is kind of almost haunting. I like that one, just the approach to that. It's not a style that Eminem has really done. And Rock City is kind of another one that just feels like a creepy song, which is good. It definitely fits. Off Parole has the best beat to me on the project, and then King of Kings is kind of something that I could see, like, well, it's just that's another good one right there. So among those 5, there was one that I was trying to like more, which is You Can't Touch Me, and then also Mr. Baller as well, which would have made it 7 out of 13, but this was not quite able to get to those. But just keep those in consideration, because those are a few others that are pretty well put together, or halfway put together, half-baked songs. But, so, 7 out of 13, that lets you know that what you're dealing with. But I do think that this is another one of these albums that probably, folks may end up liking more depending upon their preference. So obviously, there, at least those 5 songs I think most people should like. I mean, it doesn't have the song that everyone heard to go to. I mean, it does have radio songs released from it, but I just didn't feel like those were what they were cracked up to be. Boom did not really do anything for me at all. That's pretty much what it is. And I'm going to give this album a 4.5 out of 10. Now, obviously, the impact of this project, I know that Royce has really caught fire these past few years, and it's worth paying attention to now, versus what it was like 8 or 9 or 11 years ago. But, it's all in good spirits here. He also was in Slaughterhouse, so if you really do like this character, he has more music for you to know of. And there's also Bad Meets Evil with Eminem himself. So, 4.5 out of 10. It's kind of one of those rough around the edges debuts that I think some people might call like an urban legend or an urban classic, something like that. Like, I feel like there's certain albums that reach that status, and that could be one of those things. But as with what I said, it is kind of rough around the edges. So the social score is going to get a 4 out of 10, which is how well it'll play around you and your friends if you listen to the music with them. Really, I just don't see the Boom song really hitting the waves as much as that one, or You Can't Touch Me either. So, yeah, can this record be topped? And I think the answer is yes, it can. And that should be about it. So subscribe for more fun. Can this record be topped? And it is an urban, it's kind of a rough around the edges album. It has its moments, but it just needed a few more. And that would have pretty much done it.